In Philadelphia, at the Centennial International Exhibition, an exuberant celebration of America's 100th birthday was in full swing. As they marked their first century, Americans were in an expansive and optimistic mood. The nation had survived the Civil War, built a railroad across the continent, and was settling the vast spaces of the interior.
It's 2 days after the happy birthday of America, a century of incredible progress and achievement. And then comes news that Custer has been wiped out by a bunch of savages.
Custer was cut down in his prime in dramatic fashion, and it all adds up to the making of a myth.
Within months, 4 plays about Custer were being staged in New York City alone.
There was a famous poster of Custer's Last Stand, produced by Budweiser, that was probably hung in every bar in America. It shows white men surrounded by a dark horde, white men willing to make the last sacrifice as they fend off this enemy.
This became the way that Americans of a certain generation came to understand the American West and to have an image of what Custer's Last Stand meant.
It was Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, featuring the last stand as its dramatic climax, that brought Custer's legend to its widest audience. And Custer was killed thousands of times before thousands of people nightly across Europe and America. Even Custer's young widow went to see her husband's last stand.
Dear Mr. Cody, I always thank you from my heart for all that you have done to keep my husband's memory green. You have done so much to make him an idol among children and young people. Sincerely, Elizabeth Custer.
Elizabeth Custer outlived her husband by 57 years. Almost penniless in 1876, she wrote 3 bestsellers about her late husband that helped build his myth. She had lived long enough to watch her husband recreated on film time and time again. Custer's Last Stand. Few images are as strongly etched in the American imagination.
George Armstrong Custer, a brave man who fought and died valiantly for his country.
He's always going to be 36 years old, always dressed in those buckskins, always standing defiant. The perfect example of American defiance in the face of insurmountable odds.
For those of us who grew up in the 50s playing George Armstrong Custer, it was the incarnation of American courage. This was the way Americans expressed their courage. He's the central figure in the last great battle of the Indian Wars.
Far off in the Black Hills of the Dakotas, the plains of Little Bighorn will live forever as a monument to those men who so valiantly went down in victorious defeat.